Hello, this is Stephen and Jennifer, and we are back with you to talk about kind of the Mexican Southwest pepper, the
Yeah,
super yummy.
these
I love these.
these are not all of these are going to be peppers you're going to want to fresh eat, but we use these all through the year. Mexican food is my favorite flavor.
Mine too.
And it's sad that I live in Iowa and you can't get this flavor as easily as you could in another place. And so I wanted to grow them. I will grow my own flavor, and that's what we're doing.
Yep.
And so let's talk about it.
So let's see what is on our plant sale list, and then we'll talk about what we are trialing as well. And I admit our trial list is about as long as any other category that we're trying this year, but
it's my favorite flavors. Yeah. My favorite flavors.
Yeah. So let's start with the jalapeno. So it's like, well, everybody knows a jalapeno is a jalapeno, but we've got several on our list, and we're trialing several. And so let's talk about those.
Yeah.
Let's go from kind of the no heat to the highest heat ones.
I was going to say, because the flavor doesn't change as much as just the heat level does. Yeah. So they all kind of taste like jalapeno, right? But Tricked You is our no heat jalapeno, and it has a nice flavor, but no heat.
Yeah, and it produces really well. When we sent our kids out last year and said, go grab us a jalapeno, they typically brought this one back, not because they knew about the heat, it was a very productive one.
It was a very productive one. It has a nice green color. It's a nice big long jalapeno. It works pretty good.
Yeah,
if you wanted that flavor but no heat, that was our pick.
Yeah. So next one, and this is one that we've brought in new this year, and it's called Paquime.
Yep.
It would look like Paquime, but Paquime.
Paquime.
And so that's a new one.
That is a low heat one. That's only going to be 1,500 to maybe
2,000, 2,500 or so.
And again, that one grew big and beautiful. We had grown previously the Tam mild, but it is not as consistently.
Yeah, our concern with Tam mild is it was either really, really mild or it got fairly hot, and so it averaged mild, but peppers are not one of those things you want to just take the average on.
The average on. And this one was a nicer, bigger pepper. It was more uniformly green. It looked prettier. I really enjoyed it. It's a great big one.
It's a really big one.
It's a really big one. So if you were doing a cowboy candy or something that was nice and mild, that you wanted a mild version of, these are nice, big for slicing, really nice peppers.
Yeah. Next one on our list is jalapeno early, and this is an heirloom, so it's been around a while. Doesn't get near as big.
Yeah, it's the smallest one on our list. It is the only heirloom, I think, that's left on our list. Yeah. Why do we still like this one?
Well, just because a lot of people don't necessarily need a 4 or 5 inch jalapeno, and they're more than happy with the smaller one. And if you want an heirloom, it's been a very good one. It's productive, and it's one of the, actually, I think it's the earliest to mature. If you want a green jalapeno that's early, that's why it's called jalapeno early.
Yep. It is not the mildest.
No.
It has some fire to it. So this one is going to come in kind of in the middle.
Yep.
It's not our hottest one, but
yeah. So it's right in the middle for the heat. And so kind of the bigger version of this one that's the middle of the road for heat is Goliath Jalapeño.
Yeah. And again, big,
great
beautiful,
big one, yeah.
Very dark green. It doesn't do any of the checking or any of the weird things. It looks really nice. And that was our favorite last year. We grew Jedi for many years before that. That was really nice too. But the Goliath edged it out just a little bit on our trial.
Yeah, so very similar. And then we'll end up on the hot end for our jalapenos is Jalafuego.
Yeah, and again, I really liked the size of this one, the color of this one, the productivity of this one. And if you were thinking, I don't need any of these little tame jalapenos, this one had the most fire.
Yep. So while the last two are 3,000 to 5,000 SHU, this one claims 4,000 to 8,000.
Yeah. Although a caveat for this one, because we didn't have this on our list, we grow in a pot, the Pot-A-Peño Jalapeno. All of them are, the heat of any of your peppers is going to be sensitive to how much you've watered it. And so we grew the Pot-A-Peño last year and it was never hot. But I'm thinking, because you have to water your basket
every day.
Every day, right? And so if you're wanting to ramp up some heat, we're going to stop watering in it and let it build up some heat. And if you're like, this is way hot, well watered, probably not as hot.
Yeah. So let's just jump for a minute to the trial jalapenos that we're bringing in this next year. So all the ones that we've got on our list right now are ones that produce all season long.
Yeah.
And so we are bringing in one that is completely different for that fact, in that it's called San Joaquin. And it is a determinate one. And so it claims to put on about 50 jalapenos that turn ripe pretty much all at once.
Yeah, so maybe if you were canning again, if you wanted cowboy candy and you're like, I have one plant and I'm waiting all year for enough jalapenos, which has never been my problem. Yeah. But that would be a fun one. I think I'm going to try it this year and see if I can make chipotle powder, because chipotle powder is made with smoked red jalapenos, and to have a whole bunch ready all together would be a really nice feature.
Yeah, so we're trialing that one. The other one we're trialing, and honestly I just like the name, is La Bomba. And what looks to be unique is this, it's a much smaller plant type, and so for those who are growing in buckets or in a little container, maybe this would be a good one. So
it's a space saver.
Space saver. Yeah.
All right.
So we're trialing that one. So that is it for jalapenos. But as we look at all the other Mexican and Southwest type of peppers, where do we want to go next?
Well, we have, and we're going to trial a bunch more, but these Anaheim chilies are the kind of New Mexico hatch chili type, where you're picking them green, you're maybe are roasting them or using them in that category. Our pick has been for several years now the Anaheim Charger. It would be the California version of a hatch New Mexico chili. They're big, they're really green, they're nice and thick walled. They roast really well. The flavor is pretty mild on those. They're kind of like a well-watered, a no heat to maybe 2,000 if they were at their top end. So they're a really nice, mild green chili.
Yeah. So, and the Anaheims, if you've never trialed them next to each other, they all kind of look the same. But we are trialing a few of those. We'll talk about those here at the end as well.
Yeah. And then our next one up would be the Ancho.
Yep.
Ancho chilies or poblano. Our pick is barren. We've grown that for several years. It's a nice big poblano. It would be really good for stuffing. It is, again, not super hot. It's a little hotter than the Anaheim. We're going to come up a notch. Right?
Yep. So while the Anaheims, it can be 500 to 2,000. They can get hotter than that as well.
Yeah, but this variety.
But for Charger, that's what it is. For Barren, they're claiming 1,500 to about 4,000. So a little bit hotter. Seems to produce well in cooler weather. And as we're all the peppers, I feel like all of our peppers, we go through the summer and they're like, yeah. And then we hit September and October and they're like, we are happy now. Yeah. And they put on a whole bunch and I'm always like, I only had another month of summer. Yeah. And so how do you typically use those? Is this one that you like to dry or roast or?
I would use these either way. You can stuff them and use them in fresh eating. They have a really good pepper flavor. So some like the bell peppers are crunchy water. There's not a lot of flavor. These have like really good flavor. So I sometimes put it in with beans, or I'm gonna roast or stuff it. You can make chili rellenos with it. And then you could dry them and use them as part of like an enchilada sauce. You add just that neat pepper flavor without adding very much heat.
Yeah, very good. So the next one on our list is Chili de Arbol.
Oh, that was fun.
Yeah. the little tree chili. So do you have some here
I have some that I dried. They look like little shorter versions of cayenne peppers. They're pretty fiery, spicy. They make tremendously wonderful salsa. I really liked them. How hot are these? Because this was the starting to feel like you might want to watch it.
So this one, they say 15,000 to 30,000. So it is considerably hotter than, say, a jalapeno.
Yeah. But the flavor, again, is really good. And we made salsa and we're like, you're like sweating and you're like, ooh, it's hot.
That's good.
But you keep eating it because it's fantastic, that flavor. It's got that smokiness. It's got some sweetness to it, maybe a little bit of nuttiness. It's really got a really nice flavor.
Really, really good. So coming back down on the heat a little bit, next one up, and we've got a couple of pasillas.
Yeah.
So first one is Apaseo. How do you pronounce
Apaseo. So this would be a Pasilla Apaseo, and it's shorter. I think the name translates to raisin. It's got kind of a wrinkly look to it. It's again not going to be really hot. If you're putting this in a sauce, in a red sauce, you're getting flavor. You're not getting heat with this one. But you could use it in a mole or some lovely things, salsas. You could use it as a seasoning. Dry them and put them. I don't know if I have them.
Do you have any of those up here?
I don't have them up here, but they dried. They had a really pretty. I think the Apaseo, does it dry? Is that a brownish one?
So that one, so it'll be a little bit more of a brown one when it's dried.
Yeah, so it looks like a little raisin.
Yep. So the next pasilla is Bajio, which both of these pasillas and the one that we're going to trial originate from similar parts of Mexico. So they're definitely native to the North America,
but more in the Southwest. So I'm hoping they keep growing here.
And that one will dry to almost a black color.
Yeah, it's a really dark color. But you could use this in anything. It'd be really good in an enchilada sauce. I see my mouth is watering. Sorry, lunch. Okay, fantastic. Keep going.
So next one is Negro de Valle. Yep. So another one straight from Mexico. And
from the Chihuahua region.
Yep. And it claims to be one of the 2 chilies that are said to be the best chilies used to make the famous Mexican dish called Chili Colorado. Yeah,
which makes my mouth water. So that's delicious. We have to have that. So we're growing that one. And if anyone wants to jump in, that's really good. It's going to have some sweetness, but sweetness is not the overriding flavor.
Yeah.
Right. It's going to have this richness. It's really good with roast meat.
Yeah. The other one that we do have on our list that is part of the Chili Colorado group is, and it's jumping down to the bottom, is Vallero. And that is another one from Chihuahua, Mexico, and another super fantastic if you like real original Mexican flavor.
So these ones we're going to grow and we're going to dry, and we'll use them in their dried form as we're cooking. They're going to be really good.
Yep. So next up for our Mexican Southwest flavorish is one called Havasu, Santa Fe type.
Yeah, it's a Santa Fe type chili, and these were a surprise to me. I loved the flavor of these. We grew these. I made chili rellenos with them. They're a little spicier than say the poblanos that you would normally use for that, the anchos, or poblanos, yeah. And they start out kind of a creamy color and they ripen to red, but the flavor on those was really good. We put those in, like, if you're making eggs or you're making potatoes or you're making anything, you want it to have a really nice pepper flavor with just a little enough spice. I really like those. Yeah,
and the colors, kind of a yellow, orange, and red. They're probably one of the prettiest plants that we had out in the garden last year.
And they were really productive.
Extremely productive.
Yeah.
And I know the description said, perfect for chili rellenos, but we used it for a lot of
we used them in a lot of things. They had a great flavor. You could roast those too. They've got a nice thick wall. We roasted those up and peeled them, and they were delicious.
Yeah. So moving on to Serranos. So this is maybe a little bit on the hotter side of our Mexican Southwest category, but Altiplano is one that we've had for a couple of years.
Yeah, and it's a nice, we had done an older heirloom that's quite a bit smaller. This one's a little bit bigger. If you were making a fresh salsa or a pico, it has a nice, clean, sharp, spicy flavor. That's really nice. The jalapenos, I think, tend to taste a little more bell peppery.
Yeah.
With spice, this has got a more peppery flavor with, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's got a good flavor.
If you'd asked me 5 years ago if there was a difference between a jalapeno and a serrano, I would have just said, well, the serrano's hotter. But I think there's a difference in flavor.
Yeah, there's a difference in flavor. They're really good if I'm trying to bring some heat up in a dish. And they're pretty good. They're not as thick-walled maybe necessarily as a jalapeno, but I like the heat level. It's really nice and things.
Yep. And if you don't like the heat level, we are bringing on new this year a different type of serrano from New Mexico. And how do you say that one?
I don't know, Cajohn.
Yeah, the guy's name was John.
The guy's name is John, so it's like Cajohn. But and I was like, why are we doing this? Because you're adding things, and I'm like, we have things in that heat range, but we're if you like that serrano flavor, but maybe we're not quite interested in that much heat, this would bring you right back down to a mild jalapeno flavor or
heat, but keep that flavor.
Yeah, but keep you at a jalapeno level.
Yeah. So that's what's on our sale list this year, but we are trialing a bunch of different ones. And I already mentioned the jalapenos, but if we just kind of go through randomly, we got another pasilla. And I always butcher the name. How do you say it?
Oaxaca.
Pasilla Oaxaca. And that is related to the other ones out of that Pasilla region of Mexico.
Or Oaxaca region of Mexico.
Sorry.
Thank you. It's a city of Mexico.
Yeah.
And that one's about 6 inches long. It's dark. It's used for sauces like you would use in a mole sauce. And so I was like, okay, we're just going to line them all up and try them all.
Yep. Next one up is from New Mexico, the Cochiti Pueblo. And so that one comes...
Is that a Santa Fe type?
So, yeah, it is. It is like just south of Santa Fe. It's...
No, wait, that's a chili. Is that the red chili?
Well, I don't have a picture in front of me. I think we're going to have to trial it and see.
Right. I think that one's one of the nice chilies. So you could use that one either green or red, but I think it had good flavor green. Because again, with our peppers, sometimes they're targeted for red or green. Yeah. This one could go as a green one too.
Yep. This one says if you're going to make powder, it's a good flavor when roasted green, but makes fantastic powder when it's red.
Yeah. So
we'll give that one a try.
And in the same category, chimeo is another one from the Santa Fe area of New Mexico. What do you know about this one?
So it is, I'm just reading the description here, says it is a twisted, knotty beauty.
That means it didn't grow straight.
Yeah. Sun-dried skin, smoky taste, simmering heat, around 4,000 to 6,000 Scoville heat units. And it's part of the culture down there. So so
that would be that would be kind of one that's native to down there, and we'll see if it grows up here.
Yep. Next one up, Chiltepín. How do you pronounce that?
Yeah, Chiltepín. And that one is like one of the only wild peppers that is still like available. It would be native to the Southwest Mexico, Southwest area. Some people call it the mother of all chilies. It's tiny, fiery, so it's like little.
Some call it bird's eye as well as one of the nicknames.
Yeah. You can pickle them when they're green. Most of the time you would pick them when... I know. Steven knows how hot it is.
I'm looking at the Scoville heat units going, why in the world are we growing this one?
My daughter, who's down in Texas, she's like, have you tried these? These are fantastic. And she made us put it on our trial list. But most of the time you would pick them when they're red and you would dry them. And then you would crush them, but not with your fingers because, again, we're going to be really hot.
It'll hurt.
And you could put them in your dishes. The nice thing about this one, the Chiltepín, is that the heat is not long lasting. So when you talk about the burn of your pepper and you're like, this one's kind of building and you're like, whoa, I need to get rid of it. This one is a really quick hit and it dissipates. It dissipates, but it is hot. How hot?
Well, 50 to 100,000 Scoville heat units, and so it basically
so don't put it with your fingers and rub your eyes.
We're 10 to 20 times the heat of a jalapeno.
Yeah, and so we'll see if that works here. They're supposed to have kind of a smoky, earthy, really, really delightful flavor. But use a molcajete or a spice grinder or something. Yeah. Don't use your fingers. It's a little hot.
Yeah. So we'll trial that one. We will see. If any of us are brave enough to actually eat one, if they grow.
Well, you use it in things. I wouldn't eat them whole, even though they're small.
That would not be
They're
good.
actually a protected species in some of our national parks and places because they still grow in the wild.
So, very good. And then for the last three, moving back to the Anaheim kind of hatch type, we're going to trial here Joe E. Parker. And that one's one of the more mild ones as well, and Big Jim, which is the New Mex Big Jim, which is an
improvement on just regular Big Jim, but it's going to be a huge green.
It's a great big
green chili,
and that one 2,500 to 3,000 Scoville, so
which is a nice heat
kind
level.
of a medium heat, a little warmer than some of the others.
Again, back to if we live in Iowa and it's well watered, you're not going to get the heat that you might get in it in New Mexico where there's less water. So. Sometimes bringing that heat level up is nice because it means we get some.
Okay. And then the last one that we're trialing this year is it Giuseppe?
Mm-hmm.
Is how I would say it.
That's a mild hatch green chili too. And I never have too many of the green chilies in my life. And so we're going to try a bunch of them and roast them up, and my mouth is still watering.
Yeah, they're so good. What you haven't talked about is we've got a little can of enchilada sauce. We've got some salsa ranchero and all the other peppers that we dried this last year.
And we're eating all through the winter. And if you thought peppers were only for fresh eating, there's a lot more. There's a lot more.
Yeah.
These are my favorite flavors, and we keep adding on to it and not being tired of it.
Yeah. So I'm curious if there are other Southwestern Mexican type of chilies that you like that we're not trialing. Please put it down in the comments. Otherwise, post what your favorite way to eat these is. Is it like on eggs? Is it on some kind of particular dish? Post that down below, and we will see if maybe we add some more. This seems to be the year of trialing these type of peppers. So they're very good. But thank you for watching, and if you like what you're seeing, please like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.